Yeah, yeah. And I grew up in Hagerstown, Maryland, and also grew up in Southeast Washington. Finished high school back in my hometown of Hagerstown, then traveled to Tulsa, Oklahoma to attend college at Oral Roberts University. Joined the Army after that, and then after the military, entered into my career in television. And since then, it's been a whirlwind of life lessons, some uh, some valuable lessons learned by life through faults that I've committed, faults of my own and mistakes of my own. Living out of my car at one time on the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, and Birmingham, Alabama, before having that prodigal experience to realize that I could do better and that God had prepared me for something better. So I went back home, and my mother was right there, single parent mother, and she believed in me, instilled in me I think, the greatness, or planted that seed of excellence, so I could get back up and start living life again against all odds and making it.
So with you going from that to becoming an Emmy award-winning journalist, what was that like for you when you got that, when you were notified that you're getting an Emmy?
My wife was with me that night, and I had just traveled to Benin, West Africa, in 1999. And when I returned, I went there. First of all, I was invited by various pastors in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area, that's Portsmouth, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and also
Mhm.
by a young man by the name of Romain Zanu, who was from Cotonou, Benin, and he just happened to be the pastor to the president of Benin, West Africa. And Benin, West Africa, and Ghana had the presidents converged to say, look, we gotta set the tone. We gotta set it right before we go into the 21st century. We gotta let people know that we didn't initiate the slave trade, but our ancestors perpetuated by selling our own into captivity. So that right there was a whirlwind of a trip to go there and hear the presidents of two slave trading nations talk to Black Americans and people of the African diaspora and say, look, we didn't mean what we did. Our ancestors didn't know any better. They sold the best that we had. They didn't sell the feeble and the sick. They sold the best of the best. And long story short, what happened as a result of my going there, the president, Matthew Carrico, talking to me, I said, now that you've made this apology to the world and to the African diaspora, what do you want America to know? He said, you must tell America that they're a beacon of hope. All right, more specifically, then, what do you want me to say to African Americans since you've apologized to the African diaspora? And he looked me in the eye. There were other people in the room, and he said, you must tell African Americans to never see themselves as victims, but as victors, because we see you as being the modern day Josephs who helped build the global economy that we enjoy today. And I about fell off the chair because I understood the Joseph story, being sold into captivity by his brothers and then rising to the top to
Mhm.
run Egypt and saving Egypt from a famine. And then I looked at the African American story, coming here, being sold into captivity, spending years in slavery, but yet rising through slavery and Jim Crow and everything else we've been up against and helping to save this nation. And we should not forget about that. So that's what led to the Grammy. So on that night that I received, I'm sorry, the two Emmys. On that night when I received the two Emmys, I was awestruck. I was humbled because of the purpose and the story and the content of that story and how it had changed my life in terms of understanding just how valuable uh, my people are and we
Yes.
continue to be. And we should not let anything stand in our way of understanding that we are true victors. We're modern day Josephs, and we have contributed greatly to this country and to this world.
As you were able to be a part of all of these amazing situations, talk to all these great people, different countries, different platforms, different this, different that, you winning Emmys, being nominated in the first place. When you go and do interviews with celebrities, do you feel like, hey man, I wanted you guys too, or is it just another? Is it just another like hey, this is OJ Simpson? Let me. How do you feel? Like, because to me is bigger than music. That's bigger than sports. That's bigger than as far as movies and things like that. So to be sitting there knowing that what you actually do is impacting the world in a more serious platform than what we're doing or they're doing, and you're standing next to them and you probably grew up watching O.J. Simpson play football.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you feel standing next to these people?
Like a human being who's nervous.
So you still get nervous?
I still get nervous. I still think, what am I doing here talking to O.J. Simpson after his first trial? I'm in the Bahamas. I'm in this wonderful place. It's beautiful, and it's so surreal that this guy has just been acquitted, and he's walking through like nothing ever happened, and there are throngs of people cheering him, and there I am in a room interviewing him, and then being there among other celebrities as he was participating in a celebrity golf tournament to benefit sickle cell anemia. And there's been other situations like sitting down talking to Ludacris and having a one-on-one with him at the National Press Club here in Washington, or talking to Denzel Washington, numerous occasions. The thing that I loved about talking to Denzel is that he initially, when we had our first interview, he was on his way to see President Obama. He had just talked to the Boys and Girls Club, Boys and Girls Club of the Year awardees at the National Press Club. So I was there to interview him, and he only had about 15 minutes to get over to the White House. And they were pushing him out the door. And he looked at me and says, "No, I'm going to make time for Kelly." And what I discovered then is that his wife, Paulette, used to watch me. So he already had some idea who I was. And he said, "Kelly, can you do this in 5 minutes?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do this in 5 minutes." He said, "My man." So we sat down, we did it in 5 minutes. And I congratulated him on going to see President Barack Obama and have a conversation with him. And we had subsequent interviews after that. Sitting down with Shaquille O'Neal was a blast. The great thing about sitting down talking to Shaq is that we were actually doing this on the campus of Morehouse in Atlanta. And so Shaq and I, when we first met before we came out on stage, because I wanted the students to be there, it just so happens that the students were in spring break. So what they did, they invited students from some of the nearby schools to sit down and watch Shaq and I conduct this interview. So Shaq and I started, when we first met, we were inside the MLK chapel in the very room that Dr. King used to go into. And so Shaq is sitting there, I'm sitting there, we're seeing all these pictures of Dr. King and other people who worked with him. And he just looks at me and says, "You know what, Kelly, this is big right here where we're at right now." And I had to agree with him. So the answer to your question, it's been quite a ride. But every time that I'm sitting down with someone, like even sitting down with you, I'm nervous because I care about you. You see, I care about all the people that I talk to. I care about OJ. And when I sit down and talk to you, I want to be on my best behavior. My mother used to always tell me, "Kelly, whenever you're meeting someone or wherever whenever you're on radio or television, always be on your best behavior because you're an uninvited guest into someone's home." So I take that to heart. And because of that, because of just my love for people, I want to be the best that I can be, knowing that, I'm just like everybody else. This is Kelly Wright. And I just want y'all to know you're listening to the Party Mode Live, the party before the party. And ain't nothing like a Party Mode Live party, because a Party Mode party don't stop.
Hey!